So the next film for our film club was a road movie. That was the nominated genre. And the winning film, if you can't already tell, was Mad Max Fury Road, released in 2015, written and directed by the original creator of the Mad Max series, George Miller. And this was the fourth installment of the series, though it's not really a sequel, it's more of a reboot, although it is a sequel. It's a reboot slash, it's one of those things. You know? What did you think of this, Con? Mad Max Fury Road.
All right, so now I guess I should first start with this whole Mad Max thing. I remember watching the originals, and
Mel Gibson.
yeah, the Mel Gibson
Classics.
one. So that's kind of so I knew I had heard of the Mad Max series. This movie, I really didn't when it was released. I didn't gravitate to it. I think I just kind of ignored it. I kind of said, "Oh, they're rebooting Mad Max," and it didn't really speak to me. So, if it wasn't for the film club, I probably would have not watched it this year. Uh,
Did you not
so
see it previous to the film club?
no, not at all. That was my first
Oh, nice.
time actually watching it, and and I think that's why at first, so when I first started watching it the first time, I started it kind of late, and I kind of fell asleep when they get to I call them the Victoria's Secret models.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I kind of started to fall asleep there. So
How could you fall asleep during Mad Max? Everything explodes all the time.
because it was so late. I mean, I started watching
Okay,
it. It was
okay.
very late. I mean, when I say I started watching it late at night, I don't mean like it was 10 p.m. I mean, this was like at 1:30 in the morning. I said, let me
Oh,
watch
okay,
this.
okay, man. Okay.
It's just gonna be like a throwaway movie. I'll just watch it, and I didn't realize that it was probably was not a right time to watch the film. So I got to that point, I fell asleep, and I remember saying to myself as I was watching it, "What's the point of this film? Like I don't get this. Like this, I'm not learning anything." And I'm just like a spectator. The next day, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna watch it this time, and I'm gonna not fall asleep." And I absolutely loved it, man. I absolutely. By the time we got
Yeah.
to the Victoria's Secret models, I was so ready to take this journey with these characters.
You're
And
invested in them.
yeah, totally, totally, because
Because that's the thing with this film. They don't say much. Everything that all the characters do is in their actions, and just that makes you care about them, you know?
right, and it was so like I said, I didn't. At first, I didn't like that there was no a dialogue that was helping the story or me understand what was going on. Like what was Furiosa's deal with why would you want to leave the
Yeah.
guy when you are like his most beloved and you can have anything in the kingdom or whatever you want
He's
to
got all
call
the
it.
water.
Yeah, so for her to turn her back, but watching it from the beginning and being coherent, I kind of wanted to follow this journey, and I loved it. I loved it because I did not see, I haven't seen an adventure film which it was adrenaline 100% of the time,
Oh yeah,
and
this film hardly lets up.
yeah, no, and it's beautiful. It's beautifully shot. I mean, the setting of the desert really made you feel like, man, you're so lost out there, and it creeped me out, honestly. And mentioned that in my review that it made me like just to think, man, living in that wasteland, and uh, I would hate to be alive during a post-apocalyptic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like I
I wouldn't
know.
survive. I'm
Yeah, it's
straight up
like
saying.
I need my creature comforts, man. And so, but I loved it. Like you said, the action is the dialogue, and I could see
Yeah,
why
totally.
people would that need story to be told in a conventional way, not like this. But for me, once I got past that and I understood the vision of what the director was trying to do, it really became a different film, and it just became when I like I said when I understood his vision, the film became more enjoyable, and I didn't care about the details in the script. You know what I mean? I was like, you know what? I get the point. And it's well told, and come on, I mean, let's look at the detail in this film. Look at the stuff that we're wearing. Like, I mean, look at this outfit I'm wearing right now. I mean, it's very close to what these guys were wearing in the film. And
Mad Max
again,
has always had iconic design right from the beginning.
yes, and
Very first film, you know?
this movie does not let you down. And
Totally.
I think the best way that I could summarize this film was what I wrote in my script. I mean, in my review, where the action for me was like death metal. Was like watching and listening to death metal. The action was nonstop, in your face, and it really wanted you and it really gripped you. The visuals with all the detail and the costumes, it was heavy metal. Everything was like
And a lot
just
of the stunts practical. People
yes,
actually
yes.
on poles swinging around, cars rolling
Oh,
over.
absolutely, and
Um,
I'm going to get to that because our main man Squirrel mentions that in his review about that. But for me, the story wasn't the greatest story told, but for me it was hard rock. It was still enjoyable. I can still rock
it's a
out to
simple
it.
story.
Right, and so the story for me was hard rock.
Yeah.
The
Like
dialogue,
everything the characters do, they make sense. Like their actions make sense.
yes, yeah, absolutely. The dialogue, on the other hand, for me was more a little more on the country music, level, where it's like, okay, if it's not catchy, I'm not gonna turn the volume up, So,
Yeah.
but overall, it was fantastic, and just to go back to what just the practical effects and the stunts. Yes, I didn't know how much practical effects and choreography was used in this until
So
Squirrel
much.
mentioned it. Yeah, and he really breaks it down amazingly. And if you haven't read Squirrel's review of Mad Max Fury Road, please do yourself a favor and go check it out
Or just
because
go on YouTube and look at the behind the scenes making of Mad Max Fury Road.
yeah,
film.
it's impressive. It really is impressive. And come on, I mean, GTA immortalized the arena wars, and that's the apocalyptic
Oh,
theme
totally.
in that, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful film. Unlike what we just talked about, the Crimson Rivers, where it's very visually beautiful but hard to follow the story. This is just the
Yeah.
opposite.
This is
Where
beautiful to look at and easy to follow.
yeah, you just unplug the brain and enjoy the action. So, Mad Max, I certainly would highly recommend it if you haven't watched it. It's great. It's got great performances. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
Tom Hardy is great in this. I
yeah,
know he
Tom
doesn't
Hardy's
have a
great.
lot of dialogue, but his performance is all in his physical movement, his physicality, and his actions.
Yeah, and there were just some great little moments that kind of explain the world that we are in and the little universe we're in, and it's really fantastic. And one of my favorite lines this year from all the films we watched comes from this film. It's when Immortan Joe, which is who I try to address as here,
The main big bad guy.
yeah, when he says to the crowd right before he releases the water to them, he says, "Do not, my friends, become addicted to water.
I know,
It
right?
will take hold of you, and you will
Yeah.
resent its absence." I mean, like it was such for me, like a really fantastic line that I was not expecting, and I want to take that and apply that to this podcast and say this: do not, my friends, become addicted to the podcast. It will take hold of you, and you will resent its absence. So I thought that Fury Road was really a visually breathtaking film. And if you like action and you haven't watched this film, man, do yourself a favor because it's got action in spades and it's got very
It's
little
really
dialogue.
clearly directed as well. The action scenes, you know what's happening, you can follow it. It's framed perfectly. It's not fastly cut. It's not confusing. It's beautiful, man.
No, and in fact, if you slow it down and you're watching these amazing action scenes, man, you'll see so much detail and just, I mean, things coming off the cars and hubcaps and side mirrors and glass. I mean, it really,
Stuntmen.
yeah, it really, yeah, and it really is fantastic. One of the great surprises this year. And again,
It
you
was
just got to
quite
get past the
divisive on our
dialogue.
forums. Sorry, I was just
Yeah.
going to say, DJ and Fido, I know in particular, weren't particularly fans of this film.
No, because and I get it because basically I found it kind of a little bit funny when she travels all the way to point A, and then just to turn around, just to be told, hey, this isn't the right place, and they have to go back to where they came from, and so I could
But I
see
think
how
that's the point of the film, you know?
right, and I could
There's a speech that Max gives where he says something along the lines of, "You can either, let your past send you crazy, or you can face it." So that's what they have to do. They have to turn around and face Immortan
face it
Joe.
right, right.
They have to face it head on, or just go off into the desert and go mad on their own, you know?
Yeah, and again, for anyone who has really negative things to say about the actual story, and hey, listen, the guy who created the freaking Mad Max universe wrote this and directed, and I mean, this is his fetus, okay? And if anyone has anything negative to say about what this guy's intention or agenda was, I mean, this is this man's baby, okay?
He's Australian as well. He'll kick your
Yeah,
fucking ass.
and so he will you know his this is his story, and this is exactly what he wanted to convey. So yeah, big credit for that.
George Miller. He also directed Happy Feet, the Penguin film, and Babe 2, Pig in the City.
Wow, those are really horror films that I would watch.
Right, any final thoughts on Mad Max Fury Road, man?
I think that's really all I have to say about Mad Max. I think that it's really enjoyable, and one of the most action-filled action movies. Fantastic, man, fantastic. I think that if you didn't watch this, you're missing out. Your brain's missing out.
It's so watchable. Like, when you just sit down and you see a film, you can see like 30 seconds of it, and okay, I'm going to watch this whole thing. That's what this film is for me.
Yeah, totally.
You just can't stop watching it. It's just enthralling from start to end.
And it's a film where the dare I say, the villains are probably more interesting than the heroes. I Emperor this Immortan Joe guy, I wanted to know what the hell was going on with his body, man. So yeah, it's fantastic. Well? Yeah, it's fantastic.
What was his rise to power,
Correct.
That's left unsaid. But
yes,
it just leaves you to fill it in yourself.
Right, and I think that's what the beauty of the film, and why it has so much rewatch value, because you can, I know that I watched it, 1.5 times, and I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff, of little details and things that would impress me.
As simple as you think it is, there's so many little things, little details in the background.
Yep, definitely highly recommend.
It's shiny and chrome.
Fury Road. And explosive. It's so much explosion, like you said. Fire and chrome, baby. Ow. It was a really shocking scene when she does kick him out the window, and you have to say, what the heck is going on? What is she up to? She in Alien 2? I mean, if she found a way to hide?
She's a conspirator. She's she's been offered a good deal by the aliens or something, because the aliens are like businessmen.
Or was she an alien that evolved? Did she evolve now? DJ, I believe, wasn't a big fan of the film. I think that for him, the film kind of slows down towards the end, and he really didn't. Everyone knew this was kind of a B movie, but there were some things that he didn't like.
It does stack. Sorry, I'm just going to say it does stack all its best moments in like the first half. The best lines, the best scenes, the supermarket scene that I've come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, all of that happens in the first half, but the second half is still very good, the underground resistance group that gets infiltrated, the storming of the news.
Well, and I
think it's very symbolic that they stormed like a news corporation.
And I did enjoy that part, but I am with DJ on the fact that it was just just too easy for them to traverse through there. I mean, I know that nobody knew they were there, But
You would think the aliens would guard it a bit more heavily. It's
it
like
it,
Five Guys.
it kind yeah, it kind of got a little like to kind of like paraphrase DJ. It really felt like you're watching the Star Wars with the stormtroopers shooting our heroes, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden these guys. I mean, these are the guys protecting the elite of the elite because they're at this meeting, and
Although
to
I did read, sorry, I'm just going to
yeah, go ahead,
I
please.
did read a theory that in this film, the aliens that we see in this part of LA, they're like the first, the first battalion to come to Earth to sort of like set up a stronghold. So they're only in this area of LA, and they're targeting like the poor people. So that's kind of the social commentary of it. So that's why like there weren't as many defenses. They thought they wouldn't need as much because they're going to be very stealthy and it's a small time operation kind of thing.
No, no, that makes sense, and I like I said, I did like that. Yeah, I said to myself, you know what? Nobody knows they're there. They went through
Yeah.
they found the what's it called, the wormhole or whatever, and when they end up
Yeah, like this isn't an alien invasion movie. The
right,
aliens
right.
are already here. They've
They're-
invaded.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
here, you know?
Yeah, absolutely,
Which is
and
what I like about it.
oh
It's
no,
not about aliens coming to Earth. It's about aliens already on Earth.
no, and I think that's why I said that. That's made it spooky for me. That it's almost like the invasion of the body snatchers, where the evil's already
Yeah.
here. These guys, though,
It's like
want
they've been here for 50 years or something.
right, and these guys, they want to kind of just live amongst us. Now, we don't know if they're going to want to take over the planet once they inhabit and eliminate like you said, 'cause it's the first generation of aliens, and they're just establishing their power so that they can take over. That was great. Like I said, I really enjoyed that aspect, but it was a little too easy for them at the end, and I
It
did.
is wrapped up nicely, like very easily at the end, just by destroying one satellite dish.
Yeah, that was, but I didn't have a problem with that, because I mean, in a lot of these alien invasion movies, it's usually something simple that takes out I mean, sometimes it's water, sometimes it's music, sometimes it's
Even in Star Wars, it's one ventilation shaft.
exactly. So it's I didn't have a problem with it being they destroy one satellite that's broadcasting, and not at all.
Yeah.
I thought it was a
That does lead to one of my favorite film endings of all time, when that very attractive woman is, bumping uglies with what turns out to be an alien. The satellite gets destroyed. She can see what he really is. And he's like, "What's wrong, honey?" And then the film just cuts to credits. I love that. That's such a good ending.
No, it really wrapped everything up, and I love that ending. I love when everything, all the aliens are exposed, and it was great.
And I think
From
that sort of comedic ending sort of like nails home that this is a B movie. Like it's got its tongue in its cheek. You're not supposed to take it too seriously, even though it does have quite serious sort of themes.
no, and I love the ending. I love that the the implications of, oh shit, now what? We all know. What do these aliens now? Get turn hostile. It's a great ending, and I thought
I would
that
love to see a sequel to this. I think that would be really interesting.
I agree.
Like, that just picks up right from the end of this film. Like the aliens are being exposed. What happens next? I would love to see that.
Agree, my brother. So no, yeah, They Live. Definitely watch it. It's fantastic.
It's right up there with Carpenter's best, with Halloween, with The Thing. It's beautiful. Alright then, that was the first 6 months of the XDBX Film Club. What do you think, Con? What was your favourite film out of that juicy selection?
Yeah, so out of those 6 great films that we got to watch, I have to say, I think one film out of all 6 of them, and let me recap them: The French Connection, Chicago, Aliens, The Crimson Rivers, Mad Max: Fury Road, and They Live. I think out of all those 6 movies, there's one film for me at least that had everything. which, and I would say probably the most complete of all of them, and that would be Aliens. I think that for me, Aliens, not so much just the horror aspect, as I am a horror hound, but I think that the other films kind of lacked things in certain departments. I think maybe except Chicago. I think Chicago was another. I wanted to call it a complete film.
From the guy who doesn't like musicals.
Yeah, man. Listen, it razzle dazzled me, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I think Aliens is the film that definitely my favorite of the six. How about you? What would you say was your favorite?
For me, it's a toss-up between Chicago, like yourself, although I am a fan of musicals. I can't get enough of fucking things. And They Live. I love Roddy Piper. I love John Carpenter. I love that film. I think it's pretty much flawless in every way.
That's interesting. I wouldn't think that. I wouldn't think that you would have liked it that much. But yeah, no, it's definitely.
It's not my favorite Carpenter film. I think that would be The Thing. But it's up there. It's close.
Yeah, no, I think that it has a lot of meaning, and for you who really can pick up on the subtleties of a message and theme, I think that I think it's completely makes sense that you would choose that as the.
All right.
And I think that I'm glad you picked They Live, because I have to say that Lime and I, man, we came here to chew gum and podcast. And I think we're all out of podcasts. All right, well, this has been the first part of our 2019 Film Club Roundup. We've got the rest of the year to come in the second part. We've got magical flying dragons, we've got sandworms, we've got vampires, we've got zombies, we got Russell Crowe, and we've got a Christmas film that isn't Die Hard. You excited, Con? I am. Oh, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that about the Die Hard. I'm very impressed with the amazing nominations that we get every month. Take the Christmas movie. No Die Hard. Right. No. Exactly. No, not the basic film club.
What do we get? Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Yeah. I mean, no Scrooge, no Die Hard, no Elf. I mean, no Care Bears Christmas special.
That's a thing.
No, I don't know. So I'm like I said, I'm always take great joy in being part of the film club, and I hope that in the coming months and year we get more people to participate. And like I said, I don't want people to feel that you have to be an expert or be eloquent, or just just tell us what you think about what you watched. Yeah. And even if you don't want to watch, just throw in a nomination so that we have interesting things to watch. And I will say I've been very conservative with my choices this first year. So
go for it.
I'm going to. I'm gonna, just so you know, I'm warning everybody. I'm gonna open it up to the things that I really I'm not afraid to watch, and I'm gonna have to.
Human Centipede 2, baby.
Yeah. Hey, listen. We're going to. We're gonna get in there, man. I'm gonna get all up in your guts, man. I'm gonna.
As long as I'm the front of the centipede, I don't mind.
Hey, listen, you guys maybe watch musicals, you're going to watch somebody's decapitation, okay? No, I want to thank everyone who participates every month, even the people who are silent, don't speak, don't say anything, and they just kind of follow along. Thanks for all the clicks. One thing I wanted to say about, that I meant to mention during Crimson Rivers is that, this will be my last point too, I find it very interesting that of all the films, the threads for all the films that we have watched, the Crimson Rivers is the one that has the most views. I mean, and that's like by 1,000. It's winning by it has most views by like 1,000 clicks.
It's because people don't know what it is now.
Right, and I agree.
They don't know what it is.
I agree. When I watched it and I went to research it or kind of get it an explanation of what I was seeing, there was no resource. I mean, very few people reviewed it. There was really nowhere to get insight. And I think that we are now service to people who are on the internet looking for Crimson Rivers and they come across our thread. I hope they enjoy what they're reading, because I know I have a blast writing and reading everyone's reviews and thoughts. And I hope that we get more reviews, especially from Smurf. I know we're going to cover something
I want to hear a lot more from Smurf
in part 2, so regarding him. So I hope that he continues to participate. And how about Spin and the Wheel? I mean, is he like has Wheel in his DNA? Because his films, yeah, amazing. It's amazing. Well, Lime, I think that that's it for me, man. Thank you so much for putting this together,
part
man.
2 of our 2019 Film Club retrospective. This might become a more regular thing, maybe. I've enjoyed this, but like I said, we'll be back with more coverage of what we've watched this year. Cheer us out, Con. Give us something to leave on.
So, the only thing I have to say is, keep buying those tickets, keep
Keep
clicking
watching
up
them films.
Yeah, keep nominating, and let's keep this thing going. It's really fun to share films with everyone, because we all have different opinions and worldviews, and I've been enriched, so I'm nowhere near ending this film club at all.
But as long as you're enriched, I'm happy, baby. Say goodbye.
All right, everyone, take care, and see you on the forums, and please, keep watching.